And when you asked about sponsorship, how do we finally get it off the ground? I think it goes back to the timing piece. We had next Tuesday, which was a concept that we were working on, which then kind of evolved into BlueShirt Nation based on the business needs and what we were seeing around here. And we were really passionate about getting people talking and that voice that Gary mentioned. And then the business climate changed around here too with some leadership changes. And they were looking for some community-based approaches. And we happened to have one that was built and an approach that we wanted to take. And so it was kind of a natural, right place, right time, I think is what it comes down to.
A lot of that,
Well, so. BlueShirt, you know, what month and year did it go live?
Well, actually, the site went up, and it's for the first time in June of 06. Yeah. Such as it was, it wasn't much of a site at the time, but it wasn't really fully open to all the employees until like beginning of February, end of January 07, right? Yeah. So,
and part of that was selling the idea through. Part of it was working internally here to get the measures in place so we only had active employees on the site versus opening up to everybody. And that took some time. And then the cultural things we faced here as well, kind of getting through those into a place where all employees, whether it's Rep 2 all the way up to a GM, could get on the site and talk.
Okay, so we've had a nice conversation here, and you've given some very polite responses, but let's get to the heart of the matter. I want to hear about where it's been a pain in the ass, where the barriers are, because the fact is that most people that are trying to innovate and most people that attempt to become unleashed are going to run into barriers. And if you're not good at, I like to tell people, if you're not frustrated, you're not trying hard enough to innovate around here. So I want to hear about the frustration, the pain. Let's talk about the dark side here.
So my blog, the headline on my blog, the tagline on my blog is "Better Off Angry," and most days when I come in, I'm pissed off, and it's not because I make stuff up to be pissed off about. It's because there's some legitimate things that you look at, like you said, when you're trying to do something, when you're trying to innovate, when you're trying to go a little bit different. Or be a little bit different, to try something different. There's just way too damn many things in your way. I mean, we were talking about, like enterprise stuff. Why can't my login on BSN talk to the LDAP server at Best Buy headquarters? Why? And I've been trying to do that for a year and a half.
That's what I do now. See, my advice in that situation is when I walk into an IS meeting, instead of pointing the finger, I've discovered a more polite way. I go, how have I failed as a leader to convince you that this is important?
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you a question, Gary. You're pretty innovative. Then why the hell do you stay here? Why be in a large enterprise? Why not go into the garage and do a startup? I mean, you know, the words social networking and collaboration are certainly worth 6 or 7 figures to VC firms, especially in the upper Midwest where everybody's on the West Coast. So why stay? I'm not talking about, obviously, a carrot dangling outside.
No.
What dynamics, and people leave leaders, they don't leave companies. So, how has leadership played a role here in keeping you?
I think it's played a huge role.
I think it has. Yeah, I think, okay, so I'll tell you where it gets painful. I tell you where the conversation turns from, oh, this is so great, to this is such a pain in the ass. And that is, and I know everyone's going to cry me a river when they hear this, but the conversation changes when we're being managed, right? Instead of when our manager or whoever's in charge spends more time talking to us, managing us, trying to do whatever it is that they're assigned to do, whatever their job says they're supposed to be doing. That's when it turns into a pain in the ass. Most of the time, though, what we get is a lot of rope from whoever's writing the checks. We get a hell of a lot of rope, probably more than we would get at any other big enterprise.
Well, big enterprise, I was going to say, let's be honest. I mean, you two have a cush job at corporate. You're solely dedicated to BlueShirt Nation.
Yeah.
How in the hell is a 19-year-old part-time hourly worker expected to be as successful given the environment they're in? And we can't bring everybody to corporate. So what do you say to them?
It's a totally different ballgame. I don't know what you'd say. I mean,
I don't know either.
The rope, again, is what what you'd hope that they'd be able to get in that environment. Because that's how innovators can think a little differently and do things a little differently.
Here's the other thing I would tell you is, from the time I was 19 to the age I am now, which I won't tell you how old I am, but in that period, I broke my head against a lot of bricks. You know, not just at this place, but at a lot of places. So from the time you're 19, you have to get the feeling. You have to be willing to you know, bang your head against the wall forever, right? So it looks really cush right now. Cush job at you know, big Fortune 100 company, running a social network site, blah blah blah.
Doesn't feel cush.
No, but that's a good thing too. That doesn't. I mean, once it starts to feel cush, then. But the thing is that could change tomorrow. Mm-hmm. I mean, the fact that it was allowed to happen literally was one change of manager. One guy went out, another guy came in, and all of a sudden, we were getting meetings that we weren't getting before. So to the guy or the girl who's got a great idea in the store, there's no culture that's going to come save you. There's no technology that's going to come save you. There's no, you know, there's no social force that's going to ride in and sweep your ideas up to the heavens. You have to be willing to knock your head against the wall over and over and over.
You know,
you have to actually get some kind of a sick pleasure out of doing it.
In most of my conversations, in most of the scenarios I see in the company, the software as a strategic competency in the organization keeps, for me, popping up. It's not just about applications or web-based applications, but the need to change systems, offer a different service to a customer through Reward Zone and link it to PSP or the cash register. You keep coming back to software. And I see a lot of companies that are very good at engineering, like Audi, who are going to really struggle with these new in-car dash systems. GPS. They're not software companies. In fact, as far as I can tell, Apple and Google are the only two really great software companies on a large scale. It feels like Best Buy, a lot of its opportunities with customers and employees is the need to rapidly prototype software. Does that sound like something that we need?
Yes.
It's something that we talk about pain points. That's the pain point that we had. We couldn't do this internally if we wanted to, when we wanted to do it. That's why
I don't think anybody would ask this question. I'm going to ask it anyway for the answer. Why didn't you go to the IS department when you were looking for this capability?
We did.
We took
so you did go there before you did it on your own.
We took one meeting with the IS department, and they told us it would be 50 grand to have the next meeting.
To scope it.
You guys got it cheaper than I did. I had another idea. You know, 200 grand was the cost to get a proposal. I don't necessarily want to just point the finger at them. In fact, I'm going to be as kind as possible to say it's not anyone in the IS department. It's like what dynamics cause that to be the case? Is that just the price that you pay maybe for being the size that we are? And does it have to be that way?
Well, I'd say too that the agile and iterative stuff that we were doing, they just weren't set up at the time to do that. Enterprise-wide systems, yes.
I went to Accenture 2 years ago, maybe 3 now. I lost track. And I said, can you think small? Can you build a team of people that can develop rapid prototypes in under 2 weeks for less than $5,000 a pop and support at least 200 of these simultaneously? And never heard back after that.
Of course not.
Trying. Yeah, but
it's hard. That's hard, and.
Well, hell,
with all due respect,
I disagree. If you can do this on your own time using free software, don't tell me that the billions of dollars of cash this company has in the bank couldn't at least duplicate. I mean, if they just copied what you did.
But you're saying money makes it easy. Money doesn't make it easy. It's still hard to do it. The problem is that if your mindset isn't. They're not set up to do hard. We're not set up to do hard work. We're set up to make money. Right, and the systems that are in place are to make it easier and easier to make money, not to make
protect what we've made.
Right, and to protect what we've made, not to make it harder to make money. And what we're talking about with iterative development and the agile method and things like that, that's hard, man. That's hard work.
Yeah. So.
And I don't think most companies are in it for hard work.